This is Nico, just checking up on how things are going. It's been a while since I vlogged. We were just talking about my health and staying fit while trucking. My doctor as well was they went all fine. Still on my education, but I still needed to go talk to my other doctor. It's for my health. It's a 1-year physical. The last time I spoke with I didn't have insurance. The first insurance I have, I had to switch jobs. Naputo lang trabaho kasi they went out of business. What that means is they had to close down. They filed bankruptcy. Ang ibig sabihin nun, when they filed bankruptcy, they no longer will serve, or they no longer would have work for others, which means they have to quit, or they have to be laid over and go find another job somewhere. That's one reason. The second reason was I didn't have any insurance. Pagka wala kang insurance kasi mahal, that means you have to pay out of your pocket. And most of these doctors, ayaw nilang magbabayad ka ng out of pocket because it's too expensive. They'd rather have you have insurance. So anyways, so that part was being taken care of because now I have insurance right now. So ngayon meron ako insurance. Insurance ko ay through Freedom Life Insurance. It has health, it has dental, it has vision, and also other benefits that I need to read. But those benefits really sound good. So it has automatically have a life insurance in there. I didn't pay life insurance, but if I die, my loved ones will definitely get a lump sum, which means my daughter, she's the only one there. She'll get $40,000 when I die. And that's not including the life insurance. If I was to get a life insurance, that's a different story. But I'm a little young. I'm not dying anytime soon. My health is better. It's better than usual. When I started trucking, I didn't believe on eating healthy. I just ate any food that I see, including unhealthy like fast food. Any type of food that I can get, like for instance the gas station food, Loves, trucks, travel stops, fast foods, any food I just can't eat. I didn't know it was healthy, and I eat a lot of junk foods. But then I went to the doctor. Sabi sa akin ng doctor, hey, you want to be healthy, want to kind of eat better food, such as fruits and vegetables. Try to avoid foods with cholesterol, like packaged foods. Try to eat vegetables or substitute meat into like a tenderloin. Make sure it's 100. It's like the meat is like 95% lean meat and less fat. Anything with too much fat, because that's also unhealthy. It's better to live that way. It's better to know when you're early. You don't want to like ayaw mong malalaman, all of a sudden it's too late. You have a disease, or you have your cholesterol's too high, you're at risk, and then you start trying to make better yourself, being healthy all of a sudden. It's when you start early, that's what's good. When you're trucking, and of course you want health. Most of these truckers, they don't care about their health. They don't have any doctors, they don't have any dentists, they don't have vision. They don't care for doctors. When they get hurt, they just probably go to the emergency room. They don't have a physical doctor that go through every year. It's very important to have that in your life nowadays. Like your BP, your blood pressure. I watch my blood pressure all the time, and my BPM I watch. I have Apple Watch. So what that means is I watch it all the time. So every beats for a minute is pretty good. So let's say if I'm less than 65, I have to be more productive. If I'm over 100 BPM, I have to calm down. And take a deep breather, which means it's like a cheat for your BP to go lower. So at least instead of going 130 over 90, you're more likely to get 126 over, let's say, 82. Normal is 120 over 80. Your BP. That's always good. It's always good to have physical and DOT every year when you trucking, and always good to always watch your health at all the time. Those are just my main thing about blogging and letting know what my health is and what I eat, what I put in my digestive system. Make sure it has fruits and vegetables. I would do like a 90% over 10. 90% I would eat nothing but healthy food, and 10% I would probably eat, like a cheat day. Eat meat or whatever it is that you want to eat that normal people would want to eat. But it's not always good to a lot of people because we're getting older and we want to watch our health. We want to be able to live longer. I think the thing when it comes to trucking, just make sure we stay healthy. Try to eat vegetables and fruits and vegetables. What else am I going to say? But yeah, I was just checking up on you to see how the day goes. Tomorrow I'll have more blogging. I'll record more videos for me to post on YouTube, and you guys can always check it out. Make sure we're in good health. We're not slacking, we're not slipping, and we are obviously taking good care of ourselves. That's very important. That's very important. I'm getting older. I'm not getting younger. I'm 42. Most of these guys have houses. Most of these guys have family. I don't have anything. I don't owe anything. And I want to be able to live my life with a vehicle, a house, a place for me to put my head or rest into. So, but then you gotta think of the pros. To get there, you need education. There's another topic for me to talk to you later. Education, right? You gotta be healthy. You gotta have a family that provides the love and affection, and I obviously be there. Not because just a family, but you don't have any of that. At least you have yourself. You're healthy. You have a job that takes good care of you every day. You have, a bright future and opportunity. You're always humble and you're always kind. You keep the smile on you and you never go negative. And even if you do get negative, you always have ways and other routes to change all that and be better. There's always a person probably that would be negative, but you don't want that in your life. There's always positivity as well. But in order for you to be positive, you gotta stay positive. You gotta keep that in mind, that just because you're positive and the other person is negative or positive, you'll change that to a positive. And you just keep going, and make sure you don't mess it up. Because when you mess it up, maybe once or twice or whatever, you say, I'll mess it up one time. Well, you can't mess it up. You can't mess nothing up. Always put your family up first. Take good care of your daughter or your kids if you have any kids. If your wife, take good care of your wife. Also, that's very important. I've been taking care of handling my business. Just have a debt. Earlier like 2 years ago, to tell you about 2 years ago, my debt was $80,000. So I was like, no, that's too much. I can't get a house. I can't. At the time I had only my car payment. My car payment was $300. It was going for 17 grand. But I accomplished paying, you know, my car. I paid my car off. I got the pink slip. My student loan was 70,000, 76. Now it's 40, right? It's almost half. My credit card, I have one. It used to be 10 grand. Now it's just 1,000. And by the end of this month, it'll be paid off. I won't have any credit or nothing at all. I have Apple, but you know, it's not much. It's something I use in my everyday living, my entertainment, for instance. Google, you know, I constantly pay that off. As long as you're paying and you're keeping, you know, when your payment's up and you're not ruining your credit, it's always good, right? I have, obviously, was Best Buy, you know, just little credit card bills, but those will be paid off. But I'm just surprised this American Express I have was 10 grand, and I paid it off. Those are the little things that I just have. You know, there's nothing special. You know, but it's accomplishment. Over the 3 years, you pay that off, so that's pretty good. So I'm thinking, if I get a house, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna be there obviously, but you have a place to stay. You have, you know, you're not homeless. You know, what do you think? That'd be another big accomplishment, right? Getting a house and keeping yourself in check by going, you know. So if you get, anyways, that's a 400K house, right? How long do you think you'll pay that off? You know, obviously, if you pay a lot of money, like you pay $3,000 a month on that, you'll be able to pay half of that in 5 years, right? So it's pretty good. So if you pay 3 grand on that house, you pay it off good. So, but anyways, there's a lot more things that I can do. I'm only 42, so you know this can happen within the next year. That's how I want to speak to you about the health and trucking industry, because you know it's very important. It's an industry where a lot of people make so much money, and you know, just keeping safe. You know, I usually just keep safe and follow the signs. You know, follow the signs, and I learned from my previous mistakes. Not because, you know, people sometimes tells me, but I go by that too. But I usually just, you know, so it's easier for me to like just keep it going. You know, keep following, you know, the directions, and don't go over directions, don't go under directions. But, you know, just to know that you are following the directions. So, but to keep the long story short, I just want to say hi to you all. See what you guys are been up to. So if you like this vlog, make sure you comment, you like, you subscribe. Show me love, saying that you subscribe, you're here, that you watch my videos. You know, there's nothing bad about any of my videos. You know, but if you do something bad or something I just need to edit, just let me know. You know, on my blog, right? Anyways, just want to say, you know, happy Tuesday, and you guys have a great the rest of your week.